Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Long Distance Stitchers. I'm Megan,
I am also Megan.
and today we're going to do our year-end WIP Parade. So all the stitching we've been working on this whole year since our last WIP Parade, which was in June. So it's going to be a long one.
Yeah,
So
get a break, be ready to pause if you need, watch us in chunks, that's okay. We're also going to do just a little bit of a regular Flosstube update. We're going to talk about some investments we made. We're going to talk about some finishes since the last time we saw you a couple weeks ago. And then I think a little bit of plans at the very end after we've both done our WIP parades.
Yeah. I sound like this because I'm just starting to get a cold. So I apologize in advance for my voice being weird this video, but the Flosstube must go on. So
it shall not be stopped for anything.
Yeah. Okay, do we want to start with our investments?
You want to go first?
I can go first. So I had 3 things come in the mail this week. The first and the one that I've been waiting for, which almost got lost, thank God it got found, was my floss and fabric for the Natural World Sal, which starts in January, which is run by Pixel Pixie Stitch. And so I got 2 things from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. I got this 40 count Verdal even weave, and it's just sort of like a light gray. She calls it brushed sage or rubbed sage, but it's not very green. Like
it's got a green tone to it.
Yeah.
It's gray.
Yeah, it's fully gray.
Which honestly, when you see sage growing, that really is the color of it. It's not green until it dries out a little bit more. Yeah.
So I wanted something just very neutral, and then I picked up this beautiful 50-yard hank of silk, also from Hand Dyed by Rolanda, and it's got kind of purples and a little bit of green in there. And I think it's just gonna look beautiful on this.
I don't think I had realized when you were showing me that you had gone for silk. So
yeah,
super bougie.
Yeah, I was like looking at the other ones, and then I was like, they're good, but I was like feeling like I was talking myself into it, and then just like on a whim, I kind of like scrolled over to the silk side and then saw this one, and I was like, oh, that was meant for me. Yeah. That was definitely made for me. Those are so my colors.
Absolutely.
And then I got another package from Evertote, and I got the Marshmallow World floss pack. So the Marshmallow World design is by Michelle G. Benny Stitchy, and she partnered up with Leo and Roxy to do a whole set of all the colors for Marshmallow World. And they look like this. And I'm so excited for this. And I'm going to stitch it on this sort of like greenish misty blue gray color, which I think will look like this.
Do you get a paper pattern with the kit, or is it a PDF?
No, it's a digital one.
Nice.
I think because like you could just get the pattern and then like.
Well, but except that Michelle doesn't put in her patterns the Leo and Roxy, or just it's Roxy floss code. They've taken the Leo off.
Oh yeah.
But she doesn't put those colorways into her printed patterns.
Yeah.
You can only get them from Evertote. So I was just wondering if they were printing them or if it was just a PDF.
Oh, I don't know, because this one doesn't have a DMC conversion, the one that I got.
No, because it's just the Roxy floss.
Just for the Roxy floss, yeah. So yeah, that was very good. And then I also got the Winter Magic stitch box from Starlight Stitchery, and it is stunning, and I love every single thing in here. I'll show you a little bit of the book. So this is the pattern book that we got.
Makes such good books.
They're so good. And the one that I'm like the most excited for, which I didn't know was coming, is this festive pumpkin cottage from Witchy Stitcher. So it's the exact same one that I'm already working on, but it has they're wearing like Santa hats, and there's a little like Christmas tree, but everything else is exactly the same. And I only have like a little bit of the moon stitched on mine, and in this pattern it's like kind of red, and in the other one it's like orange, but that is literally the only thing. So I'm gonna switch over and just start stitching this one because I think festive Halloween and things mixed together.
Right. You can put it up in October and then just leave it up until January now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Nightmare Before Christmas. It's all the things at once.
Yep.
And then we also got these Forbidden Fiber Company colors. So we have this sort of yellowish one, this green and red one, which is very Christmassy, this brownish, reddish brown, this other greenish bluish one, which I've already used. I'll show you what I used it on. And then this very light blue one. And stickers, all kinds of things. I'm not going to show everything. I'm sure someone else has done like a full like flip through.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then this is the fabric that we got.
So good.
And I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna put on. It's very sparkly, it's very pretty. It is a 32 count linen. So I'll have to think of something very special to put on there. And the pattern that I already started from this kit, because I saw it on Michelle's Instagram a while ago, was Hildy's Winter Ride.
So good.
Her classic Hildy character, but on a big moose, which I love a moose. I love a moose. So this was very exciting to start. And so I've already gotten a little start on that I did yesterday, which I also kitted up all in the Forbidden Fiber Company colors that were in the box, which she suggested the swaps for those. And then I also picked some Leo and Roxy flosses that I just happen to have that I think will work. So, and she already commented on my Instagram that she was like, oh, I love the color conversion. So at least it has the stamp of approval. So
I think she's pretty much into everything. Not to like,
I didn't think she would be like, oh,
awesomeness of your conversion, but Michelle will hype you up.
Yeah.
Regardless, which is awesome, right? That's the energy we should all be putting into the world. So,
and then I have a few little things still from my advent calendar, which are not haul, but I just thought I would show them quickly. This purple color fabric, which was dyed specially for me by my friend Megan.
A one of a kind.
It is one of a kind. It's so good. It's a 28 count Monaco, and I will be having a lot of fun stitching on that. And then the secret project that she was working on last year that she never got to show is this flamingo pillow, which is so cute. Look at them all. And there's just like...
It was fun to stitch, and I think I have enough of all the colors left. I can make one for myself. So I have I have not separated the flosses, and it's all there. So maybe we'll make my own.
Yeah, no, I love those colors. And that's it.
Okay, so now it is my turn, and I just realized that I don't really have anything kind of work, I guess. I have my normal board. It's already queued up for the WIP Parade. So I got my Fortnite fabric of the month, and I got this beautiful gray, which is called First Kiss. So this is the November color of the month. Put it over here more. And I am in love with this gray. I immediately was like, can I do this project on it? Can I do this project on it? So I will find the perfect project for it. I did not actually jump into anything yet, but I have a couple things in mind. Where am I going to put everything? I did not think that part through. And then of course I also got my ornament cuts. So I've got this brownish one, this purple.
Oh, I like that.
And can I separate them? Apparently not. There's more like yellow gold. It's not super.
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Variegated, yeah. So good set. And then I will have one more set of those coming. some point in January they'll arrive. And then I will be done my year of Fortnite fabrics. And then next year, as you already know, I am doing Kaylee Tent Stitches fabric of, I mean, it's already started. It's already started, right? So really excited about that. And then I got a couple things in the mail from Michelle. So first I got this cute little chart, which was a giveaway as a Patreon member. It's just a sweet little tiny chart. I've liked this one for a while. So when she put it up to offer, I snagged it and it'll get stitched at some point. And then I also got her Yule Ball release. So this is her Cosmo conversion. So she did this one for a box with, I think it was Forbidden Fiber. And then so she's converted it to both a Cosmo one, and then there's also a Leo and Roxy one. But I really wanted to try the Cosmo floss. And so Michelle was, she is selling, I should have checked before we started, but I'm pretty sure she still has floss packs available on her website. But so she was selling the floss pack of all the Cosmos that you need to do this. And if you can't tell by the one that's already on a floss drop, I've already started this pattern. So this will be coming up again a little bit later on in our time together. And the Cosmo, I mean, I've just used the one color so far just to do not even a ton of stitching, but it is soft and fluffy and delicious. So I am on Team Cosmo now.
Yeah, I want to try it too. I'm gonna order some, I think, because they look really nice.
They are really nice. And then I got from my husband for Christmas, because he is a good shopper who can follow the links I sent him. The Leo and Roxy, or Roxy Floss Co. It's going to take a while to get that out of everybody's mouth, especially because the tags, they're using up all the old tags.
They still say Leo and Roxy.
Yeah. I got the, I don't know, does this yellow work? I don't know. The Roxy Floss Co. conversion for the Autumn Cloche pattern from Hello from Liz Matthews. So again, you'll see that one is started over here. And so little sneak peek of what's coming in the WIP Parade. But they're also beautiful. I love their floss. I already love their floss, so it's good. And then I also am doing the Natural World Stitch Along. So I've got this piece of, also from Hand Dye by Rolanda. We're big fans here. I don't know. That's pretty true. It's a 56 count, and the color is olive, and it's this, it's more green than Megan's, but also a little gray green. And then I got this blue, it's a cotton, but this blue floss to do the stitching in, which I've already gotten ready because we start on Sunday, January 1st. And I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't stitched on 56 count before, but I've done a lot of 1/1 on 28 count. So the size isn't the problem. Yeah. The holes might be, but I'll stretch it out really good on a Q-snap. Use good light, and it's just a little bit at a time. So I don't think it'll be a problem. Yeah, hopefully not. That is all the things I have bought, you know, or that have arrived or that I've engaged with in the last 2 weeks, which honestly, for 2 weeks, quite a bit. I mean, one was a present.
Yeah. And like like stuff that you had already kind of planned for. And
it's investments, right? Yeah. So have you finished anything in the last 2 weeks since we last talked?
I finished one thing. I finished Bendy Stitchies Autumn Colors from the Autumn Garden palette Sal. My little burb. Good. And I also
brought mine downstairs so we could have done a side by side.
Yeah, and I still, this is that DMC 14 count, that like printed one, and I have.
You can do 3 more of those on there. 6 if you splashed. 4 if you put them against each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to just like do them so I can just like take it apart, because I think I'll like finish them separately. or do them as one big piece. I don't know.
Could go either way, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But
Measure
I'm probably not going to start another one for a while because I have lots of WIPs
maybe
already.
by next fall you'll be feeling fall.
Yeah, exactly. Just do one every, or I could do a couple next fall. Like this one didn't take a long time. I was just like working on so many other things.
Yeah.
That was my only finish.
I have one FFO and then one finish. So the last time we saw each other, I showed you this Holly Jolly Buffalo by Open Road Abode Needleworks, open something like that. I didn't pull out the thing again, but he's a little sweetie. And then I was digging through just my crap. As you can see, some rearranging has been happening, some organizing of my craft hoard. And this was from a little kit from one of the UK cross stitch magazines, and it had a robin pattern in it, which I'm not positive I still have the magazine with the pattern in it, and B, it was one of those ones with a ton of back stitching and probably not going to stitch that robin. But so he fit perfectly in it. So I put him in there, added this ribbon to the top, and now he's a perfect little ornament. So that was really easy. And it makes me wonder where you can source more felt frames, because that was quick.
Yeah.
And then my other finish is a Christmas pin pillow by Kathy Barrick. I got this in a countdown box last year, so it came with all the called for stuff, which is not necessarily things that I would buy for myself, but I used it because I have it. And so I stitched this up. Those reindeers, I think, took more time than the stuff in the middle because they were so much futzy counting. If you look really closely, I have a few wonky reindeers, but you know, they all have their own unique personalities. I love that bird in the middle, and I had just started with the reindeer, and then in retrospect, I should have just done the middle part, but it's done. I will turn it into something at some point, a flat fold or a pillow. And yeah, it's really pretty. It's done. Nice. And it's off my WIP list. So
was that just 3 colors in there?
It's 4.
Okay.
So the reindeer are one brown, and then there's this red, there's a green, and then there's the
green
orange. Yeah.
Thanks.
So those are my finishes. Which brings us to the highlight of the day. Who's going first?
You have more, so I think you should go first.
I'll go first. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do these in chronological order. So if you watched our first WIP parade, you have seen the first 30 or so of these, a little under 30, I think, in the WIP parade. And then I've got everything that I've started since then that hasn't been finished. So this first one, show the front first, is Shores of Hawkrun Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. Here's the bigger thing. I've been doing some customization along the way, and I am officially 2/3 done. If you recall, this one over here was my WIP Go in December, and I took out, it's got this in memory of thing for some dude who probably never even actually existed. I'm not going to make this a memorial piece for anybody, and so I just added some elements. I borrowed that whale from a hands-on design chart, and so he's not like 100% in with the aesthetic, but I think he's cute, and I like the look of him under the ship. And then all these elements, if you look, came from this square over here in different ways. And I wanted to bring in some more green and yellow because I feel like it balances across over here rather than having this be a big blue square. So that's where it is. The ship does need some long lines on it, some really long straight stitches. So I'll put those in at the end rather than chance them getting snagged in the frame. But that is my Shores of Hawkrun Hollow. I'm really happy with it so far. Part of me is like, I should just push and finish it next year, but that would mean a big part of my stitching time would be spent on that. Or I can not push to finish it next year and get a bunch of other things done. So we'll see. Next up is Queen Elizabeth from Heaven and Earth Designs. It is a Christina Hess image, and it's just an imagination of Queen Elizabeth I as a cat. She's got a little mouse in her hands there. It's really pretty. I am doing the mini version of this. So my pattern is only like 12 pages instead of 40 pages or whatever. I don't know, I'm guessing. But as you can see, I've gotten tons done. So this one I started in December of 2020. So she is 2 years old and I don't even have a page done. So next year, my goal is to complete this first page when I pull her out. I might let her come out more than once to do that. We'll see if I get myself burnt out. I have discovered that I'm not the biggest fan of full coverage stitching. And so I probably will take more than one go with her to get that done, but we'll see. Next up is my Skeleton Mermaids by Roveris. I'm not actually sure what the actual title of this is, but that's what I call it. I started this on February 27th of 2021. I'm stitching it 1/1 on a 28 count Monaco. And we saw this not that long ago because it was a call for WIP Go, and I have just their heads done. And then I will need to keep working down their bodies. There's a lot of stitching still in that. It's a huge pattern, even 1/1. So I do not expect that one to be done next year. Next up is Cape Cod Boys by the Primitive Needle. This is one of a pair of two. You'll see the other one a little bit later. I started this July 7th of 2021, and I'm stitching it on a 32 count, picture this plus bramble. And I am sort of 2/3 of the way down. If I let my fabric drop, you can see that the frame ends out, and I've got more to do to pull it down and to put in the boy on the sled and all the other stuff. This one I am aiming to finish next year though. So when it comes out, I will probably stitch on it until it is done. Okay, so next up is Jackalopian Tapestry, which is by Lindy Stitches. It is this beautiful jackalope with a basket full of strawberries. I love it. I'm stitching this on a 32 count, picture this plus chenille.
Oh, you have so much done.
Yeah, I figure I'm a little bit more than 50%. I still have to, right, like I have to bring down and go across the borders and then do the bottom half of him. So this is another one that when it comes out this year, I'm just gonna stitch it till it's done. And get this one off of my WIP list as well. So he's really handsome and I love him a lot. Next up, we have Maggie the Messmaker, which is a Dimensions Gold kit based on the art of Charles Wysocki. So I'm doing this with all the kit stuff. So the 18 count Ada that it comes with, and all the floss, and there's some yarn in this one. And this one I started on July 17th, 2021. And I started with that sewing machine in the middle, and then I worked my way up to this corner. And then I've been working my way sort of down / across into those windows. So when this comes out, I will work on it for a little bit, but I don't have big plans to put a lot of progress into this one next year. She'll get done when she gets done. And yeah, for now, I'm just enjoying working on it. Next up, I have Waffle Lot, which is a hands-on design pattern. You make this cute little square mattress, but it looks like a waffle. I'm stitching this one also 1/1. I can probably just hold it up like this on a 28 count Monaco, just a white Monaco. Maybe I need this. It apparently has dog hair on it, so that's how I roll. And so I have most of the pink in for the top piece. But this actually, it's not very big, and I've done like the most dense part of the stitching at this point.
Yeah.
So when this one comes out, I'm gonna aim to finish it next year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could finish that.
And then next up we have Away We Ride, which is a Blackbird design chart. I'm doing a bit of a color conversion on it because I got all the stuff for this one sort of height of pandemic, mid-pandemic. I don't know, we're still in a pandemic. But so I've got some subbed out flosses, but honestly, there's a lot of black in there. And well, I know that blacks are different. There's not a lot of difference between them. For example, this is 2 different blacks. Could you tell?
No, I would just assume it was the same.
Yeah, so I started this one on September 12th of 2021. And I hadn't worked on it until yesterday this year. And I just put in, I took 1 length of floss and I used all 6 strands of it, I guess three pairs of 2, and put in that stuff over there. And so that I can say that I worked on it this year. But she did not come out this year. And so when she comes out next year, she'll get some work on her. I don't know why I'm gendering inanimate object, but here we are. And that's on a 32 count Pioneers Trail by Mountain Air. And next up, I started Autumn Strolls on October 9th of 2021. This is another Lindy Stitches pattern with these beautiful turkeys and quail or pheasant in the middle. I love that the borders are all different. I love the colors of these birds. It is a perfect chart to me. And it's another one that only really saw 1 day of stitching this year. I pulled it out for D's 20s Flip D the Bird birthday sal. And so I got some, I think I finished the blue in the tail here, and then I started in on this whiter color, but that is where that one is at. This is one that when I pull it out, I'm not going to tell myself I have to finish it, but if I feel like I get close to a finish, I might push through and get it done. Because it really hasn't had that many days of it, and it's almost right. I would say probably a third of the way done. So it might be possible to get that done with not a lot of time putting it. Up is from Mama Witch X Stitch, the Baba Yaga Hut pattern. So she is still selling patterns via Gumroad, and she's been putting out some really good ones lately. I love the anglerfish that she did and the unicorn octopus unicorn yard.
Oh yeah.
I haven't bought any of them yet, but it's very tempting, but I'm trying not to be too squirrely. Anyways, this is another one with a wicked ton of progress on it. So, I started this on October 17th of 2021. I put in all these bone things, and this is like, this could be a little mushroom here. And then so just this week I put in that brown, started the outline of the house. It's not a very big pattern though. When you bring it back, you can see it. So when this one comes out, I'm just gonna finish it, just stitch it all the way through. It is on a 14 count Black Ada, and just with the called for DMCs. Yeah, I mean, what I've done so far has been fun. I imagine the rest of it will also be fun. And then the last one in this pile is Merry Manatees, which is another Lindy Stitches. It's this beautiful drum, and it's got Mama Manatee and Baby Manatee all decked out for the holidays with some of their friends. This is another one though that did not see very much love this year. I actually had this, I had started the turtle here and the green thread was hanging off of it, if you remember from our Do WIP Go. So I put in the rest of this, and then this is the same green. So I just brought the rest of that strand up and pulled the top border across. So not a lot of stitching on him. It's another one where I'm not gonna say I'm gonna finish it, but if it's close to a finish after I work on it, I will probably push through and get it done. Those manatees though, I think they're gonna take a lot more time than I think.
Yeah, they're dense.
Okay, so now I am getting into the ones that I started on New Year's Eve last year, or around New Year's Eve. And of those 12, I finished 2 of them. So good job, me. So there should be 10 WIPs in this pile. So the first one that I'm going to share is this titmice one from Owl Forest Embroidery. I love it a lot. I have the full kit. So I'm using the called for fabric and their over dyed cotton flosses. And this one was my other December WIP go. And as I said on our last Flosstube, I was aiming to get that motif with the bird and the branches and berries and things done. And I succeeded. So there it is. This one, while relatively small, does have a lot of stitching in it. So it won't be a finish next year, but I will make sure I put some time in on it. My next one is also an owl forest embroidery pattern. So this is the Emerald City. This was a free stitch along, but after it was done, they put out a kit with all of their beautiful flosses for it. So I have the full kit for this one. And when this came out for my WIP go earlier this year, I aimed to and succeeded at completing the full castle.
Yay!
So it's got a little bit of DMC light effects, the really dark green in there, so it's a little sparkly. I don't think my camera is good enough on my computer here to pick that up, but that castle's done. And whilst it is the biggest of the motifs, there is still a lot of stitching around it. So it'll come out. I will probably, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll work on one of the witches on the side. The good witch or the bad witch, we'll see.
Yeah.
But she's not getting done next year.
No.
And then my next one is Prairie Schoolers Prairie Fairies. I started with this one here, the sewing fairy, but I plan I'm going to stitch all 5 of them to make a long skinny piece that can go on my wall. I'm stitching these as called for. They're called for to stitch over one. But I am doing them on a Picture This Plus relic using the called for DMCs. So I don't have, it doesn't look like a very big star, but it's actually a significant amount of stitches in there because it is 1/1. So for this one, my aim is to finish the first one and get a start on the next one when it comes out, so that I can at least be done one of the 5.
Yeah.
You know, within 2 years of starting it.
That doesn't seem such a lofty goal.
No, I think it's pretty reasonable. And then my next one is Autumn Royalty. Again, another Lindy Stitches. I'm stitching this Count of Candy one, but I do intend to do all 3 of them. I'm doing this over 2 on 32 count Picture This Plus Nocturne. And I have a big chunk of that guy done, right? I mean, I've stitched this one before. I stitched it for a friend, so I know that that candy.
I was gonna say, why do I feel like you already did this one? But yeah, you gave it away. Yeah.
And so he'll come together pretty quick. So again, I plan to finish him and then start on another one. Is my goal for this project for the next year. And then I have the companion to Maggie the Messmaker. I have Max in the Adirondacks. Again, a Dimensions Gold kit based on the art of Charles Wysocki. I think as much as I like the sewing room, there's something about this cat. He charms me.
Yeah. It's a good one.
And so again, all the kit stuff, the 18 count Ada it comes with. I did a middle start on this one. This one's had less time than Maggie the Messmaker overall, you can tell. But I worked my way up to this top corner and I'm working down. So again, when it comes out, I will work on it, but no big lofty ambitions to get a ton done on it. He, like Maggie, will be done when he's done.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dinosaurs.
Okay, so my next one is the Dinosaur Forest Sampler from, again, Owl Forest Embroidery, and I do have the full kit of this one, so I'm using their fabric and their over dyed flosses. This one, I think, got some good progress on it this year, right? So my New Year's Eve start was just the little flower in the corner, so I've done all that borders and sort of a quarter-ish of the chart, roughly.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less, but again, this one won't be done this year, but I'd like to either bring it down, finish the side, or pull across, I guess that way. We'll see what I feel like stitching, which dinosaur I want to get to. But that one's beautiful, and I mean, it would probably come together relatively quickly if I only stitched on it, but Who wants to only stitch on one thing? Not me. So then I started Saltwater Scrapbook, which is a combination Lindy Stitches and Blue Flower patterns. I'm stitching this one here with the shark and the fishes first. I have plans to do a whole bunch of these. I haven't quite decided how many and which ones. I did decide this ice cream squirrel one. I have one of those bags you can stitch on, so I want to do that one on that bag when I was started.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't have, again, a huge start on this. I think I got the box done previously, and then I worked on this, I think, for one day in May when I had plans to touch everything again, and then it fell apart. But I just have one little fish. So like the other ones where there's multiple pieces in the project, I'm going to stitch on this one and finish it and then start another one. And that's my goal.
Yeah.
Next, I started Babushka's Blossoms by Plum Street Sampler, which I love that giant pumpkin. I love her flower skirt. I love the giant flowers. Basically, I love everything about this. So this one I am stitching on a 32 count fawn from Picture This Plus. And I have a bunch of this done. It was on my WIP board this year, but I'm not kidding myself. Like that pumpkin and the woman in the house, there's still a lot of stitching in this.
Yeah.
So I'm not claiming this one for a finish, but if I am motivated to finish it, I will happily do so. And I'm stitching this with a mix of the called fors and the DMC conversions. I basically picked the things where there was a lot of it, where you would see the variegation, and I'm just using the DMC for everything else.
Yeah.
And then next up is Lavender and Lace, Angel of Love. This one, her skirt is heavily beaded. She is gorgeous when she is finished. I am nowhere near finishing her. I will not be anywhere closer to finishing her after next year. This is what I have. I have her one wing.
Oh, yeah.
I counted up to, and then whilst I would like to maybe go over and do the other wing, the center part where her head is, maybe should have my attention first, just to ensure that I don't miscount.
Yeah.
But we'll see what I feel like doing when she comes out. And it's just with all the called for DMC, there'll be some Krynic in it as well. And then all those beads at the end. So she's a long-term project too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have ink circles, half the fun. This Mandela, I'm stitching it 1/1 on a Picture This Plus. I lost my thing. Legacy, I think. I don't actually have it written down. I'll have to look that up. But I'm using, this is a hand dyed by Rolanda variegated floss that I am using. And so I have that center part done. And so I just have to do, all the rest of it. So it's got a ways to go, but I am going to push for a finish on this one this year because it is only 100 by 100 or so. So whilst there is a lot to go, it's also not huge. So
yeah.
And then I have from last year's Friend Stitch Autumn Gathering, Let Joy In. This was the main project piece. And so I'm doing it. It came with all the flosses, but I didn't get the fabric they had because I have lots of fabric. So I'm doing this on a 32 count Picture This Plus relic. And I've got a quarter done, so I'll pull it out. I'll probably work on the big heart motif next. And I'm pulling the border across, or I guess it's that way. Being back doesn't work for my brain. Pulling that border across as I go because it's all white stitches, and I do the border first, then I reward myself with the middle, or else it would never happen.
Yeah.
And then next up, this is my last of my New Year starts last year. The companion for Cape Cod's boys, I have Cape Cod's girls, and so this one has seen less stitching on it than the Cape Cod boys. And so this is what I have so far. This is on a 32 count Picture This Plus dapple. And I'm using all the called fors because I got the patterns and the floss together when I picked these up.
Yeah.
So this one won't be finished next year. There's still a lot of stitching to do. Its border is even more intense than the border of the other one. But it should probably be a 2024 finish. Would be my guess. Okay, so now we are moving into my 2022 starts that are not already finishes. And so we've just seen 23 projects. So we're more than halfway done. So that's good news.
Nice.
First up is the Rosina Dizery 1820 sampler, which I started on February 1st. And I think I worked on for 2 days and then got squirreled away. So I plan to work on this again in February for Black History Month. This is a sampler that was done by a Black girl. And so it's one of just a few that we have reproduced that we know were done by Black girls. So I'm just up in that top border. It is 1/1 stitching in that border, and all the words are 1/1. So there's a lot of stitches there. So I don't have goals to complete this or anything, but I will work on it and get as far as I get. And then
it's big, but it's very like sparse.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. And then just because this was in my June WIP Parade and I showed it, so it's Hands-On Design 17th block party. And I had started it on this white chocolate 32 count. And I wasn't liking how the colors were showing up. And I wasn't super happy with it. So basically immediately when we got off that call, I went and I ordered the called for fabric, which is artichoke from Zweigart. And so I got mine as a, what is this? 16 count Aida. And so I have not restarted it. So this doesn't count as one of my WIPs. And I am going to, I plan to do my restart on March 17th. And then carry forward from there. So
yeah,
that is what I'm going to do with that one. So not a WIP, but just acknowledging that it is something that existed 6 months ago. And then next up is my Iron Maiden. So this was a May 1st, 2022 start as part of Uncanny Kari and Dee's 20 Stitches Spring Fling. This is available now. You can get the pattern, the floss, and the fabric all from Brin and Needle off their website. And I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they're selling a PDF version of this. I think the only place you can get it is from Brin and Needle. But if you like the Iron Maiden, she too can be yours. And so this one got worked on a lot this year because I am enamored with her and she is pretty close to a finish. There's a lot of fill-in still to do. Like all this has to be filled in with the red, and then there's the white lace work in there. But I'm confident that when this gets pulled out, I can finish her this year, which is really exciting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can.
Okay, so next up is Wonky Cat by Miriam at Marumi Crafts Designs. She has a whole series of these magical carpet menagerie animals. Wonky Cat is the one that I started with. I do intend to stitch more of these. I don't know which ones will be next, but that's where we are at. And this one I'm stitching on a 40 count ornament cut, so unnamed, from Fortnite Fabrics, this beautiful green. And I'm using a variegated Silks for You floss. And I have the whole outline border done. And so I just have, you know, the cat and the little motifs to go with it. So this one will be a finish when it pulls out because there's some dense stitching in there, but it's not huge and I can get it done fairly quickly.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so my next project is the Vintage Halloween Carousel from the Witchy Stitcher, which came out in August, I think, as a Patreon gift chart. However, she has since released it, so you can go buy the pattern from her website. It's super cute. And so I dove into this one on July 23rd, 2022. I started this, and it is being stitched all in D&Cs on a 36 count Beloved, which is a Fortnite fabric. And the color on this, I don't think it's shown up this well before when we filmed.
Yeah.
Around has really improved my lighting,
Oh,
thankfully.
yeah.
But yeah, so I am excited to get to work on this. I don't know if this one will be a finish next year. It's not huge, but it's got a lot of parts that are basically full coverage. So we'll see where I get on it. It'd be nice to be done, but I won't whine if it's not done. So my next one is this one from Lindy Stitches called Beachcomber. So this is from the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, hosted by Acorns and Threads. I participated online, but you got all the good stuff like the patterns. And so I started this on September 24th while we were on the online Zoom retreat portion of that weekend. And so I'm stitching this on, it came as a kit. So I've got all the called for stuff. So it's a 32 count, I think just natural or raw linen from Zweigart, mostly DMCs. And then there's dinky dye for that beautiful whale. And then a little bit of classic color works for the white. I am going to alter my pattern and not stitch this big cartouche thing in the middle. So I will bring the whale and the other critters closer together. I just don't like words for the most part. Some words are okay, but anyways, I am going to work on this. If I finish it, great. If I don't, also great. I got a lot done off the start, but I was also on Zoom all day for 2 days while I was stitching it. So
yeah, that's
not a normal thing. So we'll see how far I get. Okay, so next up is Midnight at the Pumpkin Patch, which is an uncanny Kari design. She released it in September or October, something like that, around Halloween time. I fell in love instantly and had to start it. And then I fell out of love because of my own color choices. So I'm stitching this on a 16 count Aida and I converted it to sulky. And if you've watched previous Flosstubes of ours, you'll know that I really am unhappy with the color choice I made for the pink that's in the moon there. So I need to pick that out, put a new pink in there, and then I think I will feel better about it. But I want to see that moon smiling at me while I'm stitching because I'm a weird that.
It's just very light.
Yeah. So once I color correct on that, I will be off to the races. I think I'm just going to use the darker pink in the pattern and then go from there. So that's my plan. Okay, next up on November 10th, Megan and I started the Afshan Sampler Sal, and I have been a terrible start along host, and I haven't stitched on it since then. I've showed it a couple times now with no further progress. But it is this beautiful sampler by Miriam from Marumi Crafts. So I'm stitching this with a floss pack from Hand Dyed by Rolanda, which I did not pull out. And it is on a 40 count prehistoric by Fox and Rabbit Fabrics. And so there is my tiny, tiny start across the top. I don't even have that border all the way over. So even on 40 count, this is going to be quite a large piece. And so for this one, my intention for next year is to pull it out once a month and get a few days on it. So whether I do it sort of 25/7 style or just spend some focus time on it between other things. But that is my intention, to get some good progress on it because I really love it. We started a stitch along for a reason and I should get working on it. Okay, so that brought us to 30 WIPs. And so if you've watched, not so much our last episode, but the episode before that, where we spent like an hour after we did our Flosstube update talking about our plans for next year. I am turning 40, which I don't really care. It's just a number. But I thought it would be fun. So a lot of people do like 40 new starts, 50 new starts. If you're Jen Lee from Quirks and Stitches, you do 222 new starts, which she's almost done. And it's amazing. It's been amazing to watch. I would not be able to handle that in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
But so I thought it would be fun to start my year with 40 WIPs and see what kind of progress I can get on them. So as I've been talking through all of these, I do have goals and intentions for sort of each of my projects. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I show you the next ones. But so in the last week, I guess, starting on New Year's Eve. I have started 9 projects, which will bring me to 39. And then the Natural World Sal, which starts on January 1st, is going to be number 40. So that is where I'm at. So these next 9 are ones that I have started in the last week. Okay, so the first one is the Darwin Sampler, which is from Hannah Stitching. And so you can, if you go to her Instagram, she has a link to her Gumroad where you can buy this. She also has a really cool Quaker bug sampler, which I also bought and will stitch at some point. But so this was my first start, and I used some of the fabric and floss that I got from Kaylee Tent Stitch, the sewingshop.ca, in that mystery pack that I got. And so this is a 14 count Ada, which I don't know if the name of it is mystery or if it's just unnamed. So it says mystery on the tag, and I'm stitching with her blue steel floss, and I am almost done that top border. So this is going to come together really fast. So when I pull this out, I will stitch this to a finish. And yeah, it was a delight to stitch. I did this one, I started on New Year's Eve. So just watching some shows with my husband. We had a very chill stay at home, don't see anybody Christmas, which I love. And so I spent a bit more time on this one than I did on my other starts, but it should come together really fast, and I am looking forward to stitching on it. Next up is Bird Crush Club by Lindy Stitches. So there are 12 patterns in this. So I have just a start on one pattern. And so my intention is to work on this several times throughout the year, and I would like to finish 2 or 3 birds completely. They're pretty small, and be well on my way to getting the full 12 done. So I started with the Black-Throated Gray Warbler, which is this guy here. And that's the cross stitch of him. And so I'm doing this. I have a 36 count Cosmo fabric, which I realized after the fact, and then I was reading on the site where I bought it, they are not even weave. And so it's meant more for embroidery than cross stitch. So, but it's small enough that you can't really tell that the stitches aren't necessarily even in both directions. So, and I don't think it's going to make a big difference. So I actually ordered a couple more pieces of this fabric in different colors so I can have my birds on a few different backgrounds. But so I've got the branches up here, and then I started in on the birds. So, and this was like an hour, maybe a stitching, maybe a little bit more. So these birds are going to work up really quick. So I think it's realistic of me to believe that I can get a few of them done even while doing all my other things. Next,
yeah, they're not very big.
No, they're really small patterns. They're all under 100 by 100, right? So I don't want to say I'm going to do all 12 of them this year, but if I end up doing all 12 of them this year, I won't be surprised, but something else will not get done, right? Like it's still, 12 of them is still a lot. So this one has been in my stash for a while. I love this pattern. Good ships and wood ships, ships that sail the sea. The best ships are friendships. May they always be. And I know Michelle has talked a few times about recharting it with different floss, but she hasn't gotten there yet. So I just went ahead and I used picking from my overdyed. So it's mostly hand dyed by Rolanda. I've got a Brennan needle in there, and I'm using a Silks for You variegated for the border. But I've done my own conversion on this, and then I'll have some DMC. Like I'm gonna do just white DMC, maybe a 12 for that giant swan. But so I dyed, I spackled, and then I dipped it in tea. My own fabric for this. It is a 46 count. So it started off light as a white Zweigart. And then you can see that border there that I had started in the Silks for You floss. And I debated doing it with the sides matching or different colors, and I went with matching, and I'm glad I did because it looks really good. So I will be continuing that across. And then I'm going to not stitch that middle border now that my outer borders are in the rainbow color, but I will put those 2 borders together. So,
oh yeah,
right, like I don't need to add that rainbow in the middle because I'll already have a rainbow. But that will be fun. This one, it's quite big. It's 180 by 167, so it won't be finished this year, especially with that big boat and that big swan to do. But if I can get some good progress on the top half, I would be happy. So then I started next my temperature birds, or chaos burbs. Temperature, stitch along, temperature, cross stitch. tracking chart for 2023. So this is Christie's Corner Needlework. It is available on Etsy. And so I talked 2 floss tubes ago, I think, about my color choices. So I'm using Hand Dye by Rolanda Colors in a limited palette. I had 10 at that point. I'm going to expand to 12 so that I have a specific one for colder than -40 Celsius and warmer than +40 Celsius. I'm really hoping I don't have to use the +40. Based on the last week here, I will probably have to use the -40 if winter continues the way it has been already this year. But we'll see where we go. But I'm just going to pick one color for each of those and just hope I don't have to use it. And then I paired up each of the colors I picked with a solid DMC, because as you can see on the chart, there is a high and a low on each of those birds. I'll make it a little bit bigger, right? So I wanted to, because I'm using a limited palette, my highs and my lows might land in the same degree thing. So instead of having just a bird all of one color, I then have a solid DMC that matches, but not exactly, each of those colors, so I can still see the difference in those birds once they're stitched.
Oh,
Hopefully they might be small enough that it doesn't matter, but we'll find out and we'll see. But that's how I'm going to approach it. So anyways, I had big plans back when I thought that time was infinite in December, which it is not, of getting a whole bunch more done on this. But I have at least across the top my wire for January. And then I'm going to bring the poles down, keep working on wire. This is what I think I'm going to stitch on between now and January 1st to get as much prepped in this as I can. There's some fireworks that go up over here. There's a little 2023, right? If I start putting that stuff in, then I just have to do the birds. But this is on a 36 count unnamed linen. It's over dyed a little bit, but not, I wanted something that the colors would pop off of and not steal the show. And then over here, I started with 1/1 and it was a little too sparse, but over here I did 2/2 and it looks better. So I have to come back and go over that. But that is the start of my chaos birds. And I do, as I said, I want to get as much done as I can, because I know that keeping up with the framing of these things is sometimes what slows people down. So I want to be ahead, and then I'm going to pull it out once a week, probably on Saturdays or Sundays, and do the whole week's birds. And then I'm telling myself, we'll see how it goes, that I will also do at least a length on either the pole or the wire when I pull it out every week to keep ahead and don't get too caught up in myself. But we'll see.
yeah.
Okay, next up is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Matthews. So I showed you the Roxy floss conversion earlier. I am stitching this on a 40 count My Little Dove, which is a JU or Jew Designs. I'm not 100%. People say it different ways, but she's XJU on Instagram and Etsy. And her fabrics are beautiful and I love them. And so I thought the tone on this was perfect. That Fortnite fabric I showed at the start was not big enough. If it had been big enough, this would have gone on it, but it was only a fat 1/8 and this needed a bigger piece than a fat 1/8.
Yeah.
But so I've started just the top of the cloche there, and I will just keep working on this one. This one will not be finished this year, so when it comes out, it will just get some solid stitching time into it. And I'll see how far I get. My next chart is Blackbird by Blackbird Designs, which is part of the Magical Mystery Tour in honor of the Beatles. And so it is a cute little chart with bird on it, and I like those. This one is a small. I did not want all of my new starts to be gigantic. I am stitching this on a 32 count brash by Picture This Plus. And I am using a Roxy Floss Co. one-of-a-kind floss called Cousin It. I'm gonna get this really close. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's not black. It's a really, really, really deep blue with pops of brighter blue still on it. So I don't think it's showing up very accurate on there. It just looks black to me, but it is beautiful. And again, I like this. I just put in one length of floss, all 3 pairs of the strands. And I got pretty good start on it. I think this one won't take very long. So when it comes out, it will be a stitch to finish. And then based on Megan's reaction to this, I think this will fly in the mail to Megan. It's done.
I forgot that was one of them. So there's that one, and then there's the long and winding road, I think is the other one.
Strawberry Fields Forever, the Octopus's Garden, the submarine one.
Oh, right.
And there's one more, I think. Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah.
Flower pop motif. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have stitched the Octopus's Garden, and then I have the submarine, the yellow submarine one, mostly kitted up. So maybe at some point I will do all of them, but those are the three that really spoke to me. I don't even own the other three, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like, when a Beatles song comes on, I sing along because you know all the Beatles songs, and I don't like dislike the Beatles, but I'm also not a Beatles fanatic. It's more that these pieces really speak to me. So
yeah, no, I like the designs. They're really nice.
Yeah. Next up, I have Festive Little Fobs Coffee Edition from Heartstring Samplery, which are all these cute little coffee fobs. And I'm stitching these with something that I don't think made it into our finished parade because it was in my kit. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But this is the Coffee Lover's Confession. I don't have a problem with coffee. I have a problem without coffee, which is also Heartstring Samplery. And so my intention with these little fobs is to stitch a few of them, and I want to make this into a little like mini quilt wall hanging with the sampler in the middle, and then some of the little fobs around it. So I've started on just one of them. So it's, I don't know how well you can see, it's this one here. So it'll have some coffee beans and some steam, and then they have spaces for initials. So I got to figure out what I'm going to put in them. I'll figure that out. I don't know if I'm going to put my initials or whatever. But so that's the first one. And I don't know how many of these I'm going to stitch. Probably, maybe all of them. I think there's 10 patterns in there. So, and again, like this was not very long. I kept all the colors from this. So I'm just going to pick and choose from those colors. So ignoring whatever the called for was, I don't think there's even any overlap in them, which is interesting to me. Because I think her other coffee patterns, there's more overlap. And then I also have on the coffee theme, this little guy from Heart and Hand, who I also like. None of the colors in this set are the called for, but there's enough colors to sort of do a match to what's on here. And so he'll get stitched up too. I don't think he will be part of the wall hanging, but he's a coffee small, and I've been considering them the same in my head. So yeah, that when it comes up, I will probably stitch as much as I'm going to stitch on it and get it wrapped up. So
yeah,
because it won't take very long. And then my second to last, we're almost there, folks, is the Cursed Cabinet, which is this beautiful pattern by Uncanny Kari and D's 20 Stitches. This came in the Haunted America box from Fangirl Fibers, which was an October countdown box. So I suspect at some point this chart will be able to be released, but there's, I think, 13 different like haunted or otherwise cursed elements references on this cabinet. And so I'm stitching this. The box came with all of the called for DMCs. I'm stitching it on this curio linen, which was dyed by Emily at Fangirl Fibers for this project. It's a 32 count. She gave us a fat quarter, and it's going to take up like this much of the fabric, like 1/8 of it. Not 1/8? No, 1/4 of it. But still, there's going to be a lot of this fabric left over, which is nice.
Yeah.
So that's my start on that. It's not a very big pattern. Like it looks bigger than it is. It's 100 by 166, but there's a lot of open space in there, right? Like the shelf itself, the cabinet is going to be the densest stitching, and then, you know, I can tackle those motifs. So I don't think I'll finish this one this year, but maybe I will feel in the mood for it at Halloween time. Who knows? And that brings us to the very end, which is the Yule Ball by Bendy Stitchy. I was going to say Bendy Stitch Me, but that's only because I was thinking of this fabric, which is gunmetal, 32 count gunmetal by Be Stitch Me Fabrics. That's the whole piece. So that is what I'm stitching this on with the Cosmos. So I just got a start on the border when I started this one, and I recently watched Michelle stitch the right, like sort of in real time, work on this cover model, and it didn't take her very long, but she was also stitching to get this out, right? So this might be able to be finished this year, it might not. It's 176 by 87 high, but it's not super dense, right? Like that house cabin thing is the most dense stitching in there, so we'll see. We will see. I might like working with the Cosmos so much that I can't put it down. And so that brings me to the end of my WIP parade. So that was 39 projects. And then the Natural World Stitch Along, which starts January 1st, will be project number 40. Of those 40 projects, I plan to finish completely 12 of them, which I think is doable. I had 38 finishes this year. So a lot of those are smalls, but 38 finishes. Yeah. So I plan to finish 12. I have 4 that I want to finish at least one of them and then start the next in the project.
Yeah.
16 of those finished. And then there's 9, if you were keeping track, where I'm like, maybe I can push that one to a finish, maybe not. So we'll see how motivated I am. So if I do all of that, and so I'd have 4 new projects, I would have, of those 40 WIPs, I would still have 20 WIPs, 50%. So that's like my stretch goal for myself, is to complete half of the projects that I just showed you.
Yeah. 2
of the completions are the temperature cell and the natural world cell. So that requires me to keep on top of those stitch alongs. So we will see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I believe in you.
Okay, so that is the end of my WIP parade. And I think I have just spoken for an hour straight. So I will stop and Megan can do hers now.
Okay, so I have 29 WIPs and I already showed one of them because one of them was the Hildy. So yeah, some of these you'll have seen before if you watched our last WIP parade, but yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so my oldest WIP is still this 4 Seasons, which was a Dimensions kit. And I only have left to do is the lighthouse there. Get it bigger anyway. Which I'm also gonna do Bringo this year, so Bringo. But instead of doing a different thing every day, I just chose 8 things that I really want to like focus on in January. And one of the prompts was your oldest WIP, which technically that is this one. So I'm gonna at least start the summer one, and then I don't think I'll work on it again until the summer, because I like working on them like during the actual season. So yeah, so I would love to finish this one this year. That is definitely a goal, just to get it done with, because I've been working on this since 2019, I think, is the estimate that I gave myself, because I wasn't really tracking stuff back then. Okay, and then the next one is this quilted lighthouse, which I've talked about as well, because it just needs back stitching. It's basically done. So once I figure out what I want to do for that and get that back stitching finished, that will be done as well. And it's so close to a finish. The next one is also very close to a finish, and it's the Christmas Sal from Barbara Anna, which I started in November 2021, November 17th, 2021. And she's pretty much done. I finished the buildings. Oh, right, I got this. I finished the buildings last night. So they just need roofs and windows, and then all of this is done, the white and the gray there, and then there's just some more trees up here, some more snowflakes, and then all the stars.
She's not gonna see 2023, is she? She's gonna be-
No, I'm gonna finish her this year. I believe. I believe in myself.
I believe in you too.
So that will be my last finish of 2022, I hope, if all goes to plan. And then the next is the Europe Trio set that I'm doing, which is it's a 12, there's 12 of them. It was like a freebie like of the month thing, but I'm just doing the 3 that I felt like doing. And the first one was Copenhagen. So I'm hopefully gonna finish this one this year, and then I'm gonna start the next one. So the next one is gonna be London, and then Vienna, and I'm just gonna do them like across this piece.
Yeah, have a little set.
Yeah. So that one is not on my Baringo board, but it is on my WIPGO board. So I'm going to, and then if it gets called, when it gets called, I will just finish Copenhagen and do a good start on London. And next is The Funky Menagerie by Lindy Stitches, which I had started December 30th last year, so this was a New Year's start, and then I had to restart it this year because I was not giving myself very much room, and I had only done like a tiny little bit, so I decided to pull it out and start in the middle instead. So now I have some fun little animals.
So cute.
And this one is also on my WIPGO board, so I'm gonna try to do my new plan this year is to do 10 hours on things when they get called for WIPGO rather than do 5 days. So that's
Yeah, you can track it a little bit different.
So my next one is the fruit sampler from Diana Waters.
Okay.
I also started this on New Year's last year, 2022, or 2021, technically. And I worked on it a little bit, and then I got called during WIPGO, and I finished 2 little fruits. And I have this on my WIPGO board as well for this year, and my goal is going to be to finish 2 more fruit. But I only have it on there once, so we'll see if I feel like getting it out a couple more times. I have a lot of like big things that I want to focus on during WIPGO this year, so
you're going to be traveling more though this year, and that would be a good travel piece. So
that's true. That's true. It would be. Okay, so the next one is Aloha by Stitch Rovia and McCondon. And this one is on my Bringo board like 4 times because I'm really, really itching to finish this one, and I love working on it during the winter.
Bringo works like ABC Bingo, right? Like you have to do 100 stitches. Yeah.
And it gets called, so there's a different call every day, and then
so you'll get 400 stitches on that in January.
At least. And there are prompts that are like reminds you of somewhere you want to go on vacation, and so I put that one. It's like stuff like that, so it's like you can kind of like make it fit however you want. It's not like letters or anything. Okay. And then the next one is also on my Baringo board because I also really want to work on it this coming up, and it's this Christmas Village, which a couple people are working on now. And
another really good pattern.
And yeah, again, I like working on this one in January for other reasons. Kind of a wintry one, so that's where I'm at. I'm hoping to get some good progress on this one during January as well. I don't think I'll finish it, but yeah, it's a pretty big one, so it's gonna take a while.
Those buildings have more stitches in them than you think they do.
Okay, so next is the Birth Sampler from Historical Sampler Company. This one is not on my WIP Go board, and it's on my Bringo board. I think it's 4 times as well, because I really just need to get it done, and I really want to get it done before March, because that is when this child's birthday will be. He's turning 3, so I'd love to be able to give that to him for his 3rd birthday.
Yeah.
And I think I did the math, and I think I figured out how many hours I have left to do, and it was like, if I do like 1 block per week, it could take like maybe 2 months. So, all right. Next is The Turtle by Amanda Butler, which I only have this like picture where it's like, but yeah, there you go. This one's actually not on any of my boards this year.
I'm surprised.
I kind of forgot about it. I just realized. So maybe I do need to add him in somewhere. I did my WIP Go board a little different this year. I did it with like, I have like one that's just like a mermaid, because I have like 3 different things that have mermaids in them. And then I did a couple that were like full coverage pieces, which, I mean, this one is very dense stitching. I could like squeeze that into a full coverage.
It's full coverage. It's just not a square, but the turtle is full coverage. You could pick it for that for sure. Yeah.
And I was also including my seasons one as a full coverage as well, because those little blocks are basically full coverage. So, all right. Next one is the Under the Sea Sal, which I don't know if I have the most. No, I don't have the last clue, but it's basically just the same border, just on the bottom.
And then it says Under the Sea, right?
Yeah, that part was already on there.
Oh, it looks blurry.
Yeah, the Under the Sea part came out like clue 5, something like that. So this is where I am. So yeah, this is one of the ones that when the mermaid block gets called, I'll work on it because it's got a mermaid in it, and I'm not gonna finish it for the end of the year, but that's fine. I will continue working on it. I will finish it when I finish it.
Not a lot done on that though, right?
Yeah, there's a lot done.
There's more done than there is left to do.
Yeah. And each like little section has been like a couple of days, and it's like so much progress.
Yeah.
Like it's fast stitching once I sit down and work on it. Next one is Strawberry Fields by Blackbird Designs, which we were just talking about, part of the mystery tour. And this one is beautiful. I love it. This one is on my WIP Go board. It's not on my Bringo board, I don't think. Or no, it's not. So I will work on this one next year as well. I'm almost halfway, I think, but that house is
yeah.
This is
big house. And it's so it's not just one color. Some of those big houses, when it's just one color, you just have to pay attention to where the windows are, can go really fast.
It is actually.
Is it?
It's a variegated thread, so it's supposed to be different, but it's just one. Yeah, it's just
okay. Then it. I mean, it's just back and forth then, right? So
it's still gonna take a while, but I don't have to switch colors that much or leave a lot of spaces.
Yeah, so if you do all the windows first, then you're just back and forth. That's what I do.
Fill it in. Yeah.
Right? So it's more counting for the windows, but then it speeds up the house itself.
I feel like that kind of counting would be easier.
That's how I build a house.
Yeah.
In case the internet cared to know.
All right, next is this little guy. I kind of was like putting off working on it because I really wanted to do something different with those leaves at the bottom. And I had a color that I thought would work, but then I kept buying more and more floss, and now I'm like, oh no, what if this one would be better? What if this one would be better? So now I have to like just pick one and just do it.
Yeah.
But I have so many different green colors now that I'm like, oh, I want to pick.
I mean, with those leaves, you could pick a few.
Yeah.
Right? And so you could work on a few of those greens, and
Yeah, like a dark one and then a light one, but if they're both variegated anyway, then it kind of like goes back and forth because there is supposed to be a dark, a medium, and a light. And I might just do like a dark and a light. I'm trying to stay organized and put these all back as I show them.
Unlike my hoard of things behind me and all my project bags beside me, and I'll be shoving them back in. Maybe by the next time we do this, I will have a system where I can have it a little bit more organized, right? Like you're on your couch, so you can sort of spread out on both sides, whereas I have nothing in here and I'm balancing on things.
All right, next is the swans from Cottage Needlework, Cottage Garden Samplings. They all have some similar names.
Too many cottages.
Yeah. So this is number 2 in the Year in the Woods series. And it was the first one I started with, and I'm going to do, I have the patterns for 2 more, the fox and the bear, and I want to do 3 more after that, so I'll do 6 altogether, I think.
Yeah.
And that's my tiny little start. This one is not on my WIP board, or it might be. I'm still there. But it's not something that I'm like I feel like I have to like push myself to want to work on. And it's also like more of like a wintry one anyway, so
you'll pull it out when the mood strikes you.
Okay, next is the coffee and tea freebie from Tiny Modernist. So I'm starting with the tea one, and then I'm going to move on to the coffee one, and I'm pretty sure I can finish this one. It is on my Wicco board, and I'm probably just going to finish the tea part whenever it gets called, and then start coffee after that.
Okay, so you have tea and then the cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. And like the cup will take a while. It's all just white, but it's not.
Yeah, the cup is full coverage, but it's not big, right? Like the whole overall pattern isn't huge. So.
The whole thing is 65 by 73, so it's small.
Smaller than your autumn bird.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, all of I haven't been saying when I started any of these. But most of those were in our WIP Parade. A lot of those were Mania starts, and then before that it was
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve starts. Okay, so this one is Mermaid Garden. This was also a Mania start, and it is also by Tiny Modernist. And that looks like this.
So cute.
I also haven't been saying what any of these are on. I'm so bad.
If people really want to know, just ask us and we will answer you. Megan is a very good responder. 99% of the time when you get a response, it's Megan. And then I come through and read it like 6 days later in Heartache. And you're probably like, what the hell's going on? That's what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, so I have this little fishies here. And this is, this one's good fun. So this will come out when the mermaid square gets called. I have one more mermaid with going on right now, so dealer's choice whenever that happens. And then the next one is this one that I've been working on a lot lately, so there's a lot of progress here. It is the Magic Kingdom, Magic Sea, whatever you want to call it. I started, this was my December WIP go for like this month, so I've been working on it a lot, and I have a lot of progress. Ooh.
Yeah, you've done so much.
I basically just had this little like
corner.
I had this little corner, and like 2 of these little swirlies were like done when I picked it back up, and now the whole top is done. And then I started working on this mountain and this walrus.
So cute.
In there, and then the white here is the tip of the nose of the seal. So I can start working on that as well. I'm just now just like trying to do this mountain over here and like work over, because that's where the polar bears are.
The rest of the words into all that white.
Yeah. The words actually have been really fun. I really like this font that the world was in. That was actually really fun to stitch.
Good. Not all fonts are created equal in the world of cross stitching. Some of them are a beast and some of them seem to go really fast, and there's no telling when you're looking at it how good it's going to go.
Yeah. And I have this one in like a big tote bag because I've been working on it on my new 11 by 11 Q snap, and I don't have any project bags that will fit an 11 by 11.
I will make a mental note of that. I don't know when I'm going to sew again, but I have a little bit of fabric earmarked for project bags.
Okay. So, well, and also I'm getting one from the sewing shop, but are hers? Are they?
It depends on which one. You got the mystery set, so but they are.
She does make pretty big ones too.
Like this would fit an 11 by 11.
Oh yeah, totally.
Nobody else is going to see what I'm showing you, but you can see what I'm showing you. Yeah, I think her smallest size is 11 by 11, and then they go up from there. So as long as you get something that's bigger than 11 by 11, it should fit in pretty well.
Perfect. All right, so the next one is The Big Hearted Tiny Town by Heart in Hand, which is the first one of, oh no, Strawberry Fields is on this same color. I was gonna say it's the first like linen one, but no, Strawberry Fields is also on linen. They're both on this vintage beige color. This is on my WIP Go board. I really want to finish it because I really want to do other tiny towns.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have multiple ones on the go. So that one I'm gonna try to finish when it gets called. I think it'll take more than 10 hours. I gave myself 10 hours, but like I'll just keep going if I can.
Yeah.
This one is a Barbara Anna. Okay, so this is Witch Ride from Barbara Anna. And this one, I don't remember if I put it on my WIP Go board, but if it is, whenever I work on it again, I'm just going to try to finish it.
Yeah, it's a pretty small pattern.
It's pretty small, and this cup is basically done, and that was a lot of the stitching. So I'm pretty confident I can pull that out, finish it, and then I want to start a lot of two other Barbara Annas at least. And again, like I don't like having multiple things. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like it's just the designer. I guess I have a lot of tiny modernist things on the go as well. But anyway, I like finishing things, so I'm gonna try to finish that.
And some designers have such a broad style, like tiny modernist. You can do several projects, and it's different.
They're all so different. I have 3 from her that I'm working on right now. And they're all so different.
Yeah.
Okay, next is The Magical Forest by Stitchy Princess, which was my other December WIP Go. So I worked on this one a lot this past month as well. And I gave myself a secondary goal, aside from doing 5 days, that I would finish that top row. And I did it. And this one has also already got called for January WIP Go, which is fine. Great. I'll work on it some more. In January, I want to at least move down and like start working on that big tree and like some of the other big things that are in there. This will be an ongoing, this is going to take me a while because I only work on it a little bit at a time because it's like, I'm doing it on 20 count over 1, and it's tricky. It's a tricky stitch.
Yeah.
It's like I love it. I don't mind working on it, but it is one of the ones that I have to think a little bit more about as I'm doing it. So
yeah, you kind of have to change your pace with the smaller counts.
Yeah. Higher
counts, smaller holes.
All right, next is this London one. This is a full coverage one as well. So this I'll work on when my full coverage square gets called. This is where I'm at so far.
You got a lot done on that,
Yeah.
right? Like it's something you started this year. So
This one I started in July. So this wasn't a Mania start. This was just like a separate wanting to start.
what was it, a WIP go?
Yeah, like put it on my, oh, that's right. I put it on my WIP Go board and then I had it.
When I got draw.
And yeah, I'm going to try to work on that when it gets called, or when the full coverage part gets called. And I think I put full coverage on my board a couple of times, so I can either do like a couple hours on each one, or just do one for 10 hours, or like whatever
The mood strikes you, right?
Yeah. So if I'm just like, oh, I'm not working on that one right now, then this won't. Then next was in August 12th, I started this Northern Lights one, which is also by Amanda Butler, who also did the turtle one that I'm doing. It's so pretty. And
another full coverage.
This is another full coverage, so this will come out during full coverage month, whenever that is. And I'd really like to just keep going with the across the sky colors, and then kind of work down to the cabin.
The colors are nice because they're big chunks of color. But
Yeah,
when you get down to the cabin and the snow and stuff, there's a lot of confetti stitching in there. So.
Yeah. And there's a couple of blends that haven't come up yet, but that are going to be like in the snow, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so September 2nd, so when the Frosted Pumpkin Cottage was released, that day I started this one. And I've already talked about this one because I'm going to do the festive version that just came out in the Winter Magic box. So as you can see, the
Very convenient.
The moon and the bats are the exact same as in the festive version. It's like just like a slightly different color. So I'll probably just do the moon in the oranges still, and then just change
Or
it.
you could just fill in the other one with the red, and it would be orange and red, right?
Orange and red.
How that would look.
Yeah.
Right? Like don't pick out what you've already done. Just make it work for the pattern, especially since you're stitching that over one.
Yeah, I'm doing this over one on 28 count Rosewood, I think is what this is called. Rosewood Lugana. And I'm getting better at it. It's hard, but I'm getting better.
It's good to stitch yourself.
Yeah. And then September 6th. So this was during ABC Bingo last year as I started. This is a paper pattern. I started It's a Mermaid Life by Tiny Mountain. So this is my last mermaid one that I have.
It's so cute too. But those mermaid, like they're so different than your other Tiny Modernist mermaid.
Oh yeah, totally.
But they're also both like, you look at them and you know they're Tiny Modernist.
Yeah.
So
I
nice palm tree.
Palm tree going. And so yeah, that'll come out when it gets cold, and I'll try to do more on that. That one, I'll finish it when I finish it. I don't like, there's a couple that are so close that I'm gonna be focusing on the most, and then once those are kind of out of the way, then I'll decide which the next like priorities are gonna be. And then the clover that I'm making, that was gonna be a Christmas present. So much for that. But now it can be an anniversary present. Our anniversary is in March, so there's that one. And I haven't worked on this at all. I was gonna finish this in December, and I've not even touched it. But I did so much
on other things. Yeah.
And then the next little one that I have that I'm definitely going to try to finish, it is on it is on my bring go board 4 times as well. And then if I finish it before the 4th time it gets called, I'm gonna move on to another Turkey Quaker. So it's this little Sasquatch, but I'm doing the Yeti version, and that's where I'm at with that.
You will totally get them done with 4 calls.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then I think I'm gonna do the moose next.
Nice.
I've had that one for a really long time, and I really want to do it. And then I had one new start. For my birthday, I did the birthday start, which was the Quaker Pumpkins by Hello Liz Matthews. Take this page out. There it is.
So good.
I love it so much. I think if I do a birthday sal this year, I'm just gonna do a pumpkin birthday sal, and everyone can just stitch on something that has
stitch a pumpkin for you.
Any pumpkin on it. Although this is my only like pumpkin-y.
The only one you have currently, I think.
Yeah. And that is where I'm at with that. Because it's huge.
Yeah, it's a big piece. It's gonna look so good when it's done though.
Yeah, I'm excited. I swapped some fancy flosses in. This is just like 18 count Ada. And I'm gonna do some of them fancy, some of them just regular DMC. Some of them I switched to like a different DMC because I didn't have enough. Like I think that color was supposed to be, that gold color was supposed to be something totally different, and I only had one of them, and it's
in that tones, right? It's gonna rate the same regardless. So
yeah. So
but it'll be unique to you.
Yeah, exactly. And the last one here, my last new start was the Afshan sampler, which you already saw. Megan posted her picture of it, or shared her picture of it. And this is mine.
You're much better at doing a start along than I am.
I'm almost done that alphabet. I think there's a little bit more border on this side. And then there's like 4 more letters over here. And then there's a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this one is also on my Bringo board.
So you got some good time on it.
It's just twice. And then it's on my WIP board as well. So do you want to finish this, or like not finish it, but work a lot on it this coming year? So, and this one I also had in an 11 by 11, so it's also in a giant tote bag.
Why not?
That's it. Those are all my WIPs. So yeah, if anyone wants to know what any of those were on, because my brain is mush and I didn't remember to say, please ask and I will tell you. If any of them looked like not just plain white Ada, then it was probably the called for or whatever, like whatever it was supposed to be, because that would have been the only time that I would pick something else. Yeah, that's. So I'm gonna like reassess my WIPCO board a little bit, because there's a few things that I completely forgot about putting on there. And then I also have like, I didn't want to just work on things that I knew I wasn't gonna finish. So I have 4 squares that are just like start and finish a Quaker.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I want to work on like a bunch of Quakers still, because I have bought so many of them. And I'm like, if I'm only ever doing bigger projects during WIPCO, then I won't.
Yeah.
Right. And I would love to give myself, like, especially if I work on a lot of full coverage things 1 month, and to have 1 month where it's just like, okay, just like start and finish a tiny little Quaker. And I'll be like, great.
Yeah.
Love to do that.
Done, and then what else are you doing? Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So.
Yeah. So that is the end of our WIP parades, which is, I mean, if you hung in this long, thank you for sticking with us. Hopefully you took some breaks, you moved around to make sure that you didn't get blood clots. We stood up a couple times. You won't see that, but we made sure that we were moving too. In terms of plans, so Megan's going to work on her WIP Go. She's going to do Bringo for January. I think I'm going to tackle my WIPs by making 2 wheels, one with like the big projects that I'm not going to finish, and one with the little ones that I will finish, and alternate.
Yeah.
Right? And then every week I have to work on my temperature birds. And every month I have to work on the natural world south. And then every month I want to work on the Afshan Sapler south. And so between that will keep my time pretty full, but I'm also not doing no new starts or anything like that, right? So already I know on January 4th, I'm going to start something for Miriam's birthday, which I thought I had my thing picked out, and then I watched her Flosstube and I did not push myself as far as she is asking us to. So I need to go dig through my floss and see if there's something in there that I don't gravitate towards, and then base things around that. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I'm also going to be participating in an Ink Circles round robin. So I will have until March to do the first quarter, and then I will get somebody else's and do a quarter, right? We're doing mandalas, and everybody's stitching a quarter of a mandala. So nobody has to stitch the same pattern 4 times, right? We will do 4 different patterns, a quarter of the pattern. So I haven't 100% decided what my pattern is going to be, because we're trying to, the groups are going to be arranged so that patterns aren't repeating, right? So I have 2 that I want to do. So whichever one of those, or maybe I'll get to pick from both of them. I don't know. We'll see. So I don't exactly know what that is. I will probably order new fabric and floss for them, because I have no chill, even though I have lots of stuff. But you know, it's a special project. I need special things.
Yeah. No, I understand. Sometimes you just want to start like with everything all together.
Yeah.
I don't know why it feels different, but it does. Yeah.
So I'm not limiting myself to things. I have goals for the stuff that I have, but I'm not gonna try and say don't start anything, because I will just fail. So what's the point of setting an objective I know I cannot meet?
Yeah. No, you got to give yourself a little bit of freedom to be like the point is like hitting goals, absolutely, but then also like if you're not enjoying it, then
exactly, right? And
yeah,
it doesn't, nobody is relying on me to complete any of these things, right? So it's just what I set for myself. And I do want to knit more. And I have 2 quilts that have starts on them and then not touched again, right? Like, so there's other crafty things I want to do, rather than feeling like I have to meet this thing, right? Like I spent a big chunk of the last week stitching Shores of Hawthorne Hollow, because I was bound and determined to get a blackout on my WIP Go board.
Yeah.
I'm not doing WIP Go. I'm beholden to nobody but myself next year.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that goes.
So. Yeah. And we'll be back at the end of January approximately, so we can see how far I got on my Bringo calls.
I think you're gonna get blackout again.
Yeah. I definitely could.
I believe in you.
Especially with like having fewer projects and just putting
more on a day off. If a project's been called 3 times, you can do all 3 days worth on one day, right? So you don't have to. They set that up so they're not expecting you necessarily to work on your projects every day, and then there's the buffer at the end of the month to get it all done. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll be a huge success for you.
Yeah, and work will be really slow, and my next classes don't start until the end of February. So
perfect. Got a little bit of
a lot of free time.
Always good. Okay, I think that we have said all that we set out to say and more. I have a huge editing job in front of me. You all won't see that, so just enjoy the final product. And we'll see you in about a month.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed and you want to see how we progress, there's those buttons down below. And otherwise, we will hang out with you soon. Bye.